From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles. And boy, oh boy, it is that time, man. Pretty much we're a day away from the NBA Finals. And with the Heat headed back to – I got it, man. Hold up. Got to fix these settings and everything. But what I want to say is that, we got the NBA Finals and everything starting back tomorrow and everything. We got game one. We got, very good players involved in this situation this year, because I feel like it's really good that we have Jokic here, two-time MVP. He's kind of making up for what Steve Nash couldn't do, because he was about to become kind of like Steve Nash is, for the league, because Steve Nash won 2 MVPs in a row as well, too. And then could have possibly got a third one as well. But you guys all remember what happened. He got put out before he got to the NBA Finals. So he never got the opportunity to actually play in the NBA Finals, but was an MVP of this league. And I probably have never seen anybody really win this MVP without being in the finals other than Derrick Rose. But that's because Derrick Rose had an injury that, you really can't. You didn't really see coming, but, those type of things. But Jokic has been able to solidify himself as a true MVP in a sense, because, Harden and Westbrook went to the finals earlier in their careers, so it's a different feel for them because they had already been there. But, you look at Jokic and you kind of felt like Jokic wasn't going to be able to answer, the true questions of being a great, actual great player in this league. He might have just been somebody that was getting some love for, having a good season. But now all that talk is over with. Jokic has arrived as one of the best players in the world. And I'm not going to say he's the best player in the world, because he's not. He's the best big man, though, and he's probably the best fundamental player in the world. You know what I mean? I think that a lot of kids need to model their games off of what Jokic is doing right now. And that goes for the guards, that goes for the forwards, that goes for the centers, and showing how you can be a selfless basketball player. That's exactly what Jokic is doing, and that's how his team has gotten to this situation. Now, what kind of NBA Finals series should we be expecting? We should be expecting a series that's going to be hard fought, that's going to have a lot of good defense to it, when also is going to have a lot of matchups that are going to be very key on how this series plays out. Now, a lot of people have already went ahead and put their allegiance towards the Denver Nuggets, but we all know that the consensus, America's team in this situation is going to be the Miami Heat, because everybody loves a dog. Everybody loves the dog. Let's not act like people don't. Everybody loves an underdog. So right now, the Heat probably will be getting a lot of the action for game one, because a lot of people are going to have this idea that, they're going into this game confident, and they just got done beating Boston by 21 points or 20 points, whatever it was, 19 points. But they blew away Boston in Boston. They were already confident that they were going to play the Nuggets in Denver as well, too. So they called their shot in that situation. And I just think that this time around it's going to be a really tough call for the this is really going to be a tough situation for the Nuggets. This is going to be the hardest series that Mike Malone has ever coached, because, getting over the Lakers was one thing, because the Lakers didn't have the experienced head coach. They had a good guy who's been in the NBA for a long time, but he wasn't as seasoned as a head coach as Malone. Malone also took advantage of Monty Williams and his wealth of talent, but unable to produce those big wins with that talent. And, pretty much the Minnesota series was the Minnesota series. We all knew what was going to happen there. Minnesota was more about a team that was just kind of like the Heat, really inconsistent and got really good at the end of the year. But, pretty much it was too late. This team at one point was a team that was going to be a team that was in the top 6, and then they dropped out of that situation, and injuries kind of killed their season as well too. But all in all, it doesn't matter. The Nuggets had to play everybody. They can't control who is in front of them. And regardless what anybody thinks, they would have beat any of those teams in the Western Conference this year, okay? Let's just keep it real. The Nuggets were that good, and they were that much better than the rest of the Western Conference. The Heat, on the other hand, kind of picked up where they left off last season as the number 1 seed, but they did all this late in the year. And I think that it all came back down to coaching in reality. You know what I mean? It all came back down to how they're motivated and things of that nature. And that's what it's always been with Miami since Pat Riley got there. It's always been a motivational thing. It's never really been all about the talent, because there's been times where they just had a few talented players and a lot of great role players. This is Miami basketball at its absolute best. But Miami is a culture when it comes to this hooping. So there's just a lot of things that work out in this series that excites you. I know that in the beginning, before we even got to this series, they were really hell-bent on saying that, this would be a ratings nightmare if it winds up Nuggets and Heat. This would be one of the finals that nobody ever watches and da-da-da-da-da. Well, when we got Bucks and Suns, a lot of people tuned in for that, because now nobody has to have allegiances to, I would say, a blue blood of the NBA. You don't have to sit here and have your allegiance to the Lakers. You don't have to sit here and have an allegiance to the Celtics. You don't have to have an allegiance to the Sixers or the Knicks or any of that. You can just go ahead, pick a side, and hope for the best, or just watch a basketball game and enjoy it. That's what type of series this is. I think that it's the right type of series where everybody can just be a fan and watch the series. You don't have to be somebody who's putting your heart and soul into rooting for a team to win a championship. You just get to watch and be entertained. It's that simple. So let's move forward. Let's talk about some NFL real quick. I am really been watching Trevor Lawrence a lot lately, and Trevor Lawrence is looking really good coming into this training camp and everything like that, and coming into this 2023 season as well too. Is Trevor Lawrence ready to take over as the best quarterback in the league? I know that's a question that's like, why are you asking that right now, Pop? The league belongs to Patrick Mahomes, and that they got everything, they got all that stuff taken care of down there in Kansas City. And then if you consider anybody that's right next to Pat Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow, right? And then it's Josh Allen, right? Then it's who else? Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts is the guy that is seen as now the best quarterback in the NFC. At least his bank account says that. So pretty much, where does Trevor Lawrence line up with these guys? I think Trevor Lawrence is actually on a realm of his own, because yes, his rookie season wasn't anything to write home about, but was it totally his fault? Was he thrown to the Wolves very early, and did he come out with the Wolves' head on top of his crown? That's the whole thing, and that's exactly what he did. He finished up and had a brilliant end of the season that rookie year, even though he almost got sabotaged by his own head coach, because you had Urban Meyer, a guy who was trying to coach grown men like they were kids in college, and that did not work. So pretty much it's going to be a very, very good game and a very good situation that lies ahead for us, lies ahead for the Jaguars, because you have this quarterback that as soon as he stepped on the field for Clemson, he was their guy. And at this point in time, Clemson was the best team in college football. And he took over this with resounding, results right away. And he seemed kind of untouchable the first year. He was so good his freshman year. Then his sophomore year, he was pretty good. Junior year, he was pretty good. Senior year, he was pretty good. But you could see that he had born leader written all over him the way that he led that team his first year. He seemed like he was a 5-year senior at that point. And his maturity and his approach to the game is exactly what you have to be successful in this league. And I think that by him being a guy that just goes about his business and goes out there and plays football, that's the key for the Jags moving forward and becoming more of a team that is seen as a team that's in the mix, that's elite, that's, pretty much built up a great roster, because it's like they've had the last 15 years to really put a great team together. When is that going to happen? That's the biggest question. They had one great season since 1998, I would say. And, that's something that has that's something that has helped. That's something that, you look at and you kind of have an expectation of what to expect with the Jaguars. But now you don't have that anymore. You have a team that has big expectations. You have a team that is in line to win their divisional championship. You have a team that's in line to possibly play in the AFC championship as well, too. And then you have a team that's in line to having the MVP of the NFL on their team this season as well. And I think that if you can go out and say, okay, who's that guy that's going to be somebody that I can go to and say, this is my guy when it comes to how, you go about your MVP futures, then Trevor Lawrence should be at the top of your list, man. I'm serious. I think Trevor Lawrence really does have all the traits that show MVP, because he did everything to get his team back in line last season. They had some really close losses, and then they had some really close wins, and then that Raider game, everything just clicked. And he figured out a way to get his team to the promised land and get his team to the title for the South. And that's just incredible to me. And I'm looking at these odds right now, and he's 14-1, and I would say, don't be too loud about this. Take it as it is right now, because he's in there tied with Tua. Tua is not an MVP candidate this year. Let's keep it real. If Miami busts out and has a great season, Tyreek Hill will probably be the first wide receiver that can win MVP in a season. Let's just keep it real. It wouldn't be Tua. It would be all about Tyreek Hill being the end-all, be-all for that team. But you look at the numbers and you say to yourself, okay, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, of course they're the favorites. But Trevor Lawrence, to me, is the sneaky piece. 14-1 on this deal. That is absolutely great value right there for a guy who's well worth the price of admission on this deal. And I like the 14-1. So let's really go ahead and take a look at this one and really see this as a great investment going into this season. So Trevor Lawrence, I expect big things from you this year. I expect big things from the Jaguars this year as well, too. To be honest with you, I think that this is one of my surprise teams for the upcoming season, to be honest with you. I'm going to go ahead and name those teams for you in the next coming weeks, but the Jaguars are probably at the top of that list, to be honest with you. I think that they got a very easy division when you really look at it at the end of the day, because Houston's kind of rebuilding that situation right there. Tennessee's rebuilding their situation as well, too. And then you have Indianapolis that's in a rebuild situation as well. You got a division where literally you have nothing but young quarterbacks, except for the Tennessee situation. You possibly got Tannehill still there as well. So let's go ahead and jump into our next topic in hand, and that's going to be Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. The Eagles have everything you need to win a Super Bowl this year, but is their coach the right fit? That's the biggest question that I have for the Eagles this year. It's the biggest question I had last year for the Eagles. And I felt like they lost the Super Bowl simply because their coach got way too cute and their coach got way too comfortable. And, you looked at the lead and you thought that possibly the way that the Eagles have played all season, that they would just go ahead and sit on the ball, run a bunch of clock, and get up out of there. But you knew as soon as they got into that second half that that game was going to be a totally different game because Patrick Mahomes was on the other side and he wasn't going to sit there and back down to anybody. And we know that in the past, the Eagles have jumped out to big leads against the Chiefs or Andy Reid and find themselves losing the game. And that's exactly what happened in the Super Bowl. You don't lose a Super Bowl the way that the Eagles lost that Super Bowl. I'm sorry. They dominated on both sides of the ball all throughout the first half. They had a lot of good things going in that first half as well, too. And I felt like they possibly put a little bit too much on Jalen Hurts. You know what I mean? I think that they had to figure out how to get the cowbell running back in there and really run clock. If you see the way that Kansas City played them, Kansas City played with a well-balanced script in the second half. It was a lot of running. It was more running than anything. And it was a lot of short passes. It was like wherever the void is at, that's where we're going to get the ball to. The Eagles kind of just were being cute and just taking their sweet time, thinking that they were going to be able to win that game. And that goes back to your coach. The way he was dancing and doing all types of just celebrating on the sideline before the half, you just told yourself, if I'm sitting on the Chiefs side of the ball, I really am going to wreck everything that they got going in the second half because I got it figured out now. And their coach has just motivated me even more because he thinks this game is over. He thinks that we're just going to quit here in the Super Bowl. And we've already won the Super Bowl before. This is our third Super Bowl in 4 years. We're not going out like that, homeboy. And that's exactly what happened. And I feel like those type of losses can linger. They can. Those type of losses can linger for the rest of your coaching tenure, the rest of your coaching career. It happens. A lot of guys that lose the Super Bowl, they never recover from losing that Super Bowl. Ask Jim Fossil, coach of the Giants. Went out there, had one of the best seasons the Giants have had in years. They go to the Super Bowl. They get absolutely blasted. His coaching career was never the same after that. It truly wasn't. You know what I mean? It just they were a bad team the next season. Then he was shortly out of the NFL, and then he was shortly out of being a head coach. Then he goes off. He becomes a coordinator. That situation fails too, and pretty much he finds himself in whatever league that folded a few years ago. So these guys really do need to understand that, yeah, you had a great season last season, but it's a what have you done for me lately league. And I feel like the Eagles are very confident in their future right now. They've spent the money on Jalen Hurts, but we've seen this movie before. The last time they won a Super Bowl, they went and spent on Carson Wentz to make sure that they secured the future of the franchise for the next 6-7 years. Now they're doing the same thing with Jalen Hurts with the confidence that he'll be the guy here for the next 6 or 7 years. But is there really a trust there? I don't think so. I think that he's just really able to still be here because he helped this coach keep his job. Straight up. The last 2 years, Jalen Hurts has been the big end-all, be-all of why the Eagles are such a successful team. And he literally helped 2 other coaches get themselves jobs here in the offseason. And I don't think that they were deserving of those jobs, to be honest with you. I think that the Eagles ran a great system and the players are that talented to where they were able to overachieve in a sense. And I think that at the end of the day, this team is all based on the success of Jalen Hurts. And I truly do feel like if Jalen Hurts does not have a great season, then they'll be pointing fingers at him and this coach and saying, what are we doing here? Because at the end of the day, people can say all they want to, but you only got so much time to prove yourself. They give you $260 million and 200 of it's guaranteed. People expect Pro Bowl results. If you don't get Pro Bowl results, we've overpaid for them. We've done this. We've done that. Well, at the end of the day, This is something that the Eagles know that they have to go to bed with. And this is something that they're going to have to really figure out at the end of the day to see exactly who they're going to truly be this year. Right now, they're the favorite to win the NFC, but the season hasn't started yet. And I truly do feel like they're going to have some company here in the NFC East. And you can never forget about the Cowboys. That's the whole thing. And then the Giants are very confident in themselves this year as well. And then, the Commanders are always going to be a thorn in everybody's side in the NFC East. It doesn't matter how good or how bad they are. When you're dealing with that team in DC, they're going to come and try to F up your day. It's that simple. So there's so much more to talk about when it comes down to the NFC East, but we ain't got all day for that. So let's go ahead and move forward to our next topic, and that's going to be us going to the world of boxing real quick. Who will Deontay Wilder fight next? Big question. Deontay Wilder, it looks like it's two options coming down the chute right now. You got the mega match, that the super fight that we wanted 4 or 5 years ago with Anthony Joshua, who's no longer the undisputed, who's no longer the unified champ, and Deontay is no longer the WBC champ. So you can't have the same fight that we all envisioned 5 years ago. I'm still mad at Deontay that, he had to really make sure that he gave Tyson Fury a rematch when he owed Tyson Fury nothing, in my opinion. Just take that stupid little draw because Jack Reese didn't do the right thing and he didn't wave off the fight. When you got a champion like Deontay Wilder who's pushing the envelope and pushing the needle for American boxing, you don't sit up there and play the game where guys get back up. You needed to wave that off because we needed you to wave that off. That could have been a great moment for Deontay on a comeback situation, coming back in a fight and beating the dude. But we can't live in the past, right? So Deontay Wilder is now here still as one of the biggest names in boxing, just not the heavyweight division, but in boxing. When Deontay comes out, people watch, people see. So all this, Deontay doesn't sell pay-per-views. Deontay couldn't sell out a tuna to a tuna can. Couldn't sell tuna couldn't sell tuna to a homeless person. Whatever. At the end of the day, Deontay Wilder is must-see TV. We all know that because he doesn't come for the judges to score the fight. He comes to knock people out. He literally said he wants a body. So, Deontay Wilder, whenever he speaks or whenever he confirms a fight, there's going to be tons of eyes on that fight. And Anthony Joshua knows this is a great dance partner. And this would be Usyk's greatest dance partner, not named Anthony Joshua. Maybe even bigger than Anthony Joshua, because Usyk is seen as a very skillful fighter. And he could be the guy that tames the bull. That's how they're looking at it. But Deontay Wilder can also be the guy that goes ahead and proves how powerful he is and parks this boy like a limousine at a 5-star hotel. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of people want to see that fight because Usyk seems like he's into taking big challenges. And I think since Tyson Fury wants to dim and die and waste everybody's time, this is the best money fight for Usyk. This is a fight Usyk could actually do in America and have some type of backing, and he can get himself some type of fanfare out here because at the end of the day, those fans are not real fans for him. They're fans because they believe in narratives that are put out by these magazines and these blogs and all these people that surround boxing with their bigotry. So what happens here is that we have a bunch of excuses of why the fight shouldn't happen. But the fight should happen because every top heavyweight for the next 18 months needs to be fighting each other. No more of this, I'm waiting to get a title. I'm waiting to be the mandatory. I'm waiting to do this. If you're ready to fight, book the damn fight. It's that simple. Okay? Nobody cares about O's anymore. All right? Nobody cares about any of that. Just get your asses in the ring and get it on. And we don't have to keep saying this, but me, on the other hand, I just want to see guys just be active. And I think that Deontay has two great options right now. Anthony Joshua probably would be the better selection because he's coming off of 2 losses and a win that was kind of shaky, but he does have Derrick James in the corner now, so he's going to be a bit more confident in a fight with Deontay. I would say this, Deontay, go chase those belts because I really do feel like he does have a great advantage over Usyk because the power that he holds. It takes one punch and the fight's over. And I think that he can actually end this fight with one punch. And if he's able to do that, we go straight to a Joshua fight. It'll be the biggest fight not in heavyweight history, but it'll be the biggest fight in at least 25 years in the heavyweight division. And it could be the rebirth of the division if everything goes according to plan. So really, the renovation, the rebuilding, all depends on Deontay Wilder because he's the most recognizable face when it comes to U.S. heavyweight boxing. Yeah, we love Big Baby Anderson, but who the hell really knows Big Baby Anderson? Let's keep it real. So I could talk about this all day, but I need to go to this commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into some baseball. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and we'll be right back at you in a few.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we're back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into the Blue Crew Daily. And the Dodgers are at the stadium right now playing. I was going to go to today's game too, but it's real gloomy and just it's ugly out there right now, as they like to say. So pretty much, it's all good. Because if it was nice and sunny today, I'd be all over it. But you don't want to deal with LA in the rain, man. And I don't know if it's gonna rain today, but it got that feeling, it got that look. So pretty much I really do like the fact that the Dodgers are taking every game, as it's a game by game situation. The Dodgers aren't looking at this thing and overlooking teams. They're not underlooking teams. They're not scared of anybody, but they respect everybody. And that's where the Dodgers are really winning all their games. That is because they really do manage to take care of their business in a very, very strong way throughout the season. Yesterday, Tony Gonsolin once again had a beautiful effort. Dodgers actually are winning 4-3 right now. They jumped out 3-0. And then Houston, Washington scored 2 runs in the second and 1 in the third. And then the Dodgers have went ahead, took the lead back with a now 4-3. And it looks like they got the inning just ended as well. So pretty much the Dodgers up 4-3. But yesterday they won that game 9-3. Dodgers win series with another blowout win over the Nats, 9-3, wrapping up the series in a matinee game. So pretty much the Dodgers last night were on fire. Freddie Freeman, another big night for him. Also, JD Martinez, another 2-run shot from him. And then Jason Hayward actually was the guy that led off everything last night when it came to scoring. He hit an absolute bomb in the second inning. So, these guys are doing very well, moving forward. And, Mookie Betts, he feeling good about himself. Mookie hit a leadoff homer today as well. So the Dodgers sitting pretty in first place right now. They're only a game and a half up, but still, that's better than last month when the Dodgers were a few games back. And the Dodgers still hold the best record in the National League as well, too. They're up a few games. They're up a game and a half over the Braves, and they're also up a game and a half over Arizona as well, too. Now, if the playoffs were to start today, they would have Arizona, San Francisco, and Miami all in wild card spots. So Pittsburgh has figured out a way to fall out of the loop, and you see the New York Mets are hovering on the outside looking in. So as I keep telling you guys, the National League is tough. I'm looking at Washington, the worst record in the National League at 23-32. And then you got the Dodgers at 32-23. Do you see the big difference in that? There is no big difference in that. Dude, this is wild because literally out of the I would say out of the it looks like, okay, we have 6 teams here, right? And then we have 15 teams in the division. I mean, in the league. It looks like after you look at the first 6 teams or the first 4 teams, literally 11 teams are all not too far apart from each other, okay? You got teams that are literally 2.5 games back, 5.5 game, half a game back. This is how close the National League is at this moment. And any of these teams can have a big run and find themselves in the mix for the National League play, for the playoff side of the National League. This is just like the Western Conference in the NBA. It's a very, 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 very close race, and it's a very tight-knit group as well, too. It's, it's a big disparity between what's going on in the American League compared to what's going on in this league, to be honest with you. So, pretty much the Dodgers are looking to go ahead and probably sweep the series so they can feel pretty good going into their next day off and get ready for a big series with the Yankees this weekend that we'll be talking more about for the rest of the week once we on this Blue Crew Daily topic. But at this point, the Dodgers are playing great baseball. There's nothing to be worried about at this time. I know a lot of people are stressing about the pitching and stressing about certain players and infields and outfields. All that stuff will take care of itself in due time. The Dodgers are just over here figuring out exactly who their group is going to be going into the fall. And they're trying, and they know that they haven't won anything yet, and they got to take care of their business in the division first. And that's exactly what they've been doing. And they got to make sure that they beat up on the teams that are supposed to be bad teams in baseball. And that's exactly what they're doing as well, too. So with that, we'll move on to our next topic, and that's going to be talking about MLB Wednesday night. We got ourselves a full schedule today, but we have a lot of games that started earlier today, and I'll run these scores for you real quick. In games that have finished up already, the Rangers lost their game to the Tigers today, 3-2. I had the Angels as my client dog bet of the day. The Angels won their game 12-5, and Mike Trout hit 476 shot monster, 482 actually in the first inning to kick things off in this game. And literally the Angels never looked back. The Angels had a really good day today. Shohei actually hit a home run today as well too. Mickey Moniak was the guy that was knocked in on both of those. So that's pretty cool for him that he gets to hot 5 it up with 2 of the best players in all of baseball. But Ohtani actually hit 2 home runs today. One was a 445 shot, and then he hit a 486 shot today. And both these home runs, they were both towering shots. So that's pretty good. Taylor Ward also hit a home run as well too. Very unspoken player on the Angels, big X factor for that team, and also Chad Wallach, the son of one of my favorite players back in the day, Tim Wallach's son, who used to play for the Dodgers and the Expos. He hit a home run as well too. So the Angels come up big and they cash out a nice ticket for me and my clients at the moment. Now I'm looking at games that are going at present. We got bottom of the ninth. The Rays got the bases loaded right now, but the lead 4-3 over the Cubs at Wrigley. Then we got the Guardians and Orioles going at it. This game is already has the over on it. It was an over under 8. The Guardians are up 11-8. So, it's only the 5th inning. So there's plenty of games still left to go. The Braves actually dropped the first 2 games to the A's. So they're going to wind up losing this series to the A's, even with the win today. So that's a shocker because this team had won 10 games coming into this. So the A's get back-to-back wins probably for the first time in about 6 weeks. So they're not even worried about winning today. The Braves are up 3-1, bottom of the 6th. And the Pirates find themselves up 6-3 in San Francisco right now in the bottom of the 5th inning. So those are the scores for right now. Let's go ahead and jump into our game. First game yesterday, the Reds did us a solid, and they went ahead and got a good 9-8 win, even though they almost blew that game yesterday because they were up 8-0 and wound up winning that game 9-8. They got a little run late in the game that was proved very key because it seemed like the moment they hit 8-0, the Red Sox turned it on and actually scored 8 runs in the final 2 innings, but still lost the game 9-8. This was actually a client premium play yesterday. We took this one home at plus 150, so that was huge. So today is going to be a little different because we got 2 guys on the mound that are pitchers that get hit and get hit a lot. So, James Paxton is still trying to figure it out. He got really roughed up in the last game against the Angels in Anaheim. He's trying to bounce back today, but I think the Reds bats are really smoking right now, so they should be good today. Luke Weaver actually pitched 6 1/3 shutout innings last time out, struck out 6, gave up 3 hits, and only walked 1. So he had his best outing of the season last time out, but you're playing at Fenway today, and I just really feel like the series does present a lot of scoring. So I do feel like we get the over 10.5 here tonight. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, we have ourselves a very good group here we got a very good game here with the Twins and the Astros. This one right here, I know that this one looks like it's going to be something of great, disparity and stuff. But I think today the Twins have a good shot. Yesterday their best pitcher was pretty much shellacked, even though they consider Pablo the best pitcher. But I think it's been Joe Ryan most of this season. And I think pretty much what happened is that they just ran into a terrible spot for themselves yesterday. Today should be a lot different. You know what I mean? It should be a lot different for them today because this is the final game of the series as well. And I truly do feel like what happens here is that you have this team come up big in this spot today. I think that the Twins should be really good. I know that they have Varland on the mound going against Hunter Brown, who's one of their newer pitchers here, who's a good young arm, good young stud. This is why they didn't mind Verlander walking, so they have this in their cars. They have this in their feather in their cap, but I truly do feel like this game winds up being a game where we get our dog at home. So I'm going to take the Twins to go ahead and cash out that plus 150 for us today. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but I like the Twins as our dog of the day. Let's go ahead and move forward to a game that's going to be the nightcap tonight, and that's going to be the Mariners and the Yankees. This one has been a pretty good series as well, too. The Yankees coming into the series 34-23, while the Mariners are 28-27. Both of these teams have actually stepped up their games big time at this moment, because the Yankees were in last place 3 weeks ago. Now the Yankees find themselves right where they need to be at in the division. The Yankees are actually in third place now, and they're about 2 games behind Baltimore at this point. And that's just because losses. They're really just a game back, and they're only 5 games back behind Tampa Bay. So if you thought the Yankees were going to be sitting in last place for all season, you were fairly wrong about that. You know what I mean? This is the Yankees, dog. They've won their last 9 out of 12 games, after pretty much that point where it was like, when are the Yankees going to cut it on? They cut it on. You know what I mean? So, they've been a really good team since the Oakland series this month, and they've gotten to their groove, they've been really good. Yeah, they had lost 3 in a row, then they win 4 in a row. The Yankees have been good, and the Yankees know what time it is. And, pretty much as I kept telling everybody, a lot of these teams were still in spring training the first 6 weeks of the season. Now they're in regular season form, and now you need to watch out, because really you could do all your beating up on them when they were still in spring training mode. Now the good teams are in regular season mode, and those teams that were coming out of good spring trainings are now starting to face the realities of what a 162 game season truly is. So pretty much with that tonight, what I see here is a very good matchup. And I totally feel like what happens here is that this game winds up being much closer than it looks on paper, in my opinion. And I think that the Mariners actually wind up winning this game by 2 or more runs. So I'm taking them with the plus 150. So we got another nice little dog here for the primetime pick 4 today. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take another quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into Talking Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we're back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. Before we start talking tickets, man, I want to go ahead and do something real quick. I want to go ahead and send a big condolences, big shout out to my man Britt, the great Britt Norwood. He's a boxer, a good friend of mine, though, too, client as well. And he's became like a little brother to me, man. And he has children, something that I don't have, but it's always really tough when things like this happen. But this show today was dedicated to Keegan Norwood, his young son that passed away yesterday due to a very bad car accident down in Mississippi. So I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know that today's show is dedicated to him. And may he rest in peace, that young soul that lost his life yesterday. So, Brett, I'm right here with you, brother. If you need me, you already know what time it is. But I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledge that as well, too, that this show is dedicated to him today. And it's a tough loss on my man Brett, it's a tough loss on his mother. It's a tough loss on the family. Shit, it's a tough loss on me, and I didn't even know the kid. So pretty much, man, get thoughts and prayers, as everybody always says, and our thoughts and prayers are with you, Brett. We love you, and get better soon. This is something that that's very unthinkable. So there's not much to say right now. You know what I mean? The only thing I can do is be in here. But once again, the show was dedicated to the memory of a great little guy in Keegan Norwood. All right. Rest in peace, Keeg. All right. So let's move forward and talk about Talkin Tickets tonight. And we have ourselves a very, very, very good ticket tonight with the pick 4. We have a 23-1 ticket. This is like the equivalent of having like a 60-1 pick 6, 70-1 pick 6, because you only need 4 teams to get home to cash out a 23-1 ticket. Come on, man. That's good. That's awesome. So I got the Marlins here with the plus 100 tonight. Also, the over 10.5 with the Reds and the Red Sox. Our dog of the day and the Twins plus 150. And then we also have the Mariners with their plus 150 as well, too, with the run line today. So we got a 23-1 ticket here. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, we have ourselves the MLB Prop Bets. This is going to be the Brewers over 5.5 runs plus 160 alternate line. We also have the Marlins plus 175 alternate run line. We have the minus 2.5 plus 175 alternate run line to the Phillies. And then we got the Rockies under 4.5 runs plus 125. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll just go from there. All right. But there it is. There it is. That's going to be our plays for today. And hopefully these bad boys get home, because this is a lot of value here today. You know what I mean? So pretty much we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking to NBA Finals. I have my bets and everything ready for you guys for that. We also have MLB tomorrow as well, too. I'm checking now to see what type of schedule that we do have, because I know that we have early games tomorrow, but hopefully we have an array of late games, and we only have so many late games tomorrow as well, too. So I'm probably going to start the show a little bit earlier tomorrow, probably right after I get done doing the show with Jeff, because I'm supposed to be doing Jeff's show tomorrow as well, too. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. But Thursday, we will have another show. You guys make sure to tune in for that. Make sure you're retweeting, sharing the shows as well, too. And always give me feedback, man. Let me know what you're thinking. And if there's any questions you want me to answer on air, I'm always here to do that as well, too. So with that, it's another great episode of the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.